Hello everyone, my name is Feng Jialu and I will be serving as the moderator for today's panel discussion. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to our session, where we will delve into an important and pressing topic that affects millions around the globe, gender-based violence in the digital age. I will be guiding the discussion today. As the technology becomes more integrated into our daily lives, the potential for harm, particularly through the rise of gender-based violence in online spaces, from harassment and cyberstalking to threats and non-consensual content sharing, the issue is vast and multifaceted. Today's discussion seeks to examine the types of online gender-based violence, its psychological and social impact, the role of social media platforms, and importantly, what can be done to prevent it. According to a 2021 study by the United Nations, over 85% of women have witnessed or experienced online harassment. A study by Amnesty International found that 1 in 3 women under 35 has been targeted on social media with long-term mental health effects. In addition, referring to book Technology and Gendered Harassment by Prof. Amanda Lewis, which provides not only statistics but also theoretical frameworks, such as the power control theory to explain how digital environments perpetuate gender inequalities. This directly enhances our discussion on both causes and solutions. Thank you for taking the time to join the discussion. Let's get started. Let us begin with the first panelist who will explore the different types of gender-based violence in the digital space. This will provide us with the foundation for understanding the breadth of this issue.
Hello everyone, my name is Ke Zihan, and I'm honored to be the first panelist in our group discussion today. I would like to introduce different types in gender-based violence that happens online. This kind of violence often targets women and girls, and it's something we must understand better if we want to build a safer and more respectful internet for everyone. Online gender-based violence means hurting, treating, or bullying someone through the digital platforms because of their gender. It can happen on social medias, in private messages, in group chat, or even in video games. The internet is supposed to be a space for sharing, learning, and connecting. But for many women and girls, it can also become a space for fear and harm. What makes it even worse is that many people think online violence is not real violence, but the truth is, the emotional and the psychological damage can be just as serious as in-person abuse. There are many ways this violence shows up. Some people send repeated, aggressive, or insulting messages to women online. Others share private photos without permission. Some try to follow or track someone online activity, which we call cyber-talking. There are also people who post personal information like someone's address or phone number to make them feel unsafe. And sadly, many women, especially young girls, are pursued to send sexual photos or messages. All of these attentions are harmful and they can cause fear, stress, and long-term mental health problems. Victims often feel helpless and may stop using the internet or avoid speaking out online. This is not just a few people experience. A report by UN Women in 2021 found that 73% of women worldwide have experienced or witnessed some form of online violence. That's nearly 3 out of every 4 women. Amnesty International also reports that women who work in public, such as journalists, politicians, or activities, receive hateful messages and tweets every single day. These numbers show that this problem is not small and it's not real. It is something that affects millions of people across the world. So, what can we do? First, we need stronger rules on social media platforms. Teach campaigns must take responsibility to protect users by detecting harmful content faster and giving victims better tools to report abuse. Second, we need laws that clearly say online violence is serious and must be punished. But laws and technologies are not enough. We also need education. Young people should learn from an early age what respect for online behaviors look like. We need to talk more about contact, privacy, and empathy. When we understand these things, we are less likely to hurt others, even by accident. This issue is deeply connected to gender equality in society. Online space reflects the problems we see in real life, but they also give us a chance to make change. If we speak up, support victims, and demand better systems, we can create a safer digital world where everyone is treated with digital and respect. This is my part. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that insightful presentation. So to clarify, do you think the anonymity of online platforms is significantly contributes to the frequency or intensity of these types of violence?
Yes, I do think anonymity plays a big role in the rise of online gender-based violence. When people are anonymous, they feel less responsible of that what they say or what they do. They can hide behind fake names or profiles, so they are more likely to say harmful or abusive things that they wouldn't say face to face. This makes it easier for them to target women and girls without fear or being punished. Also, it makes it harder to victims to report the abused or get justice. Because the abuse is really identity, it's often unknown. So yes, the lack of announceability that comes with anonymity definitely increase both the frequency and the severity of online voice. This is my answer. Thank you.
Okay, next we turn to the second panelist who will discuss the psychological and social consequences that victims of online gender-based violence often face.
Hello, everyone. I'm the second panelist, Wang Qingrui. For my session in the panel discussion, I will focus on the psychological and social impact of technology-facilitated gender-based violence on victims. Technology-facilitated gender-based violence refers to the harassment, threat, humiliation, and even posting of false content or deepfake images against specific gender groups, especially women and marginalized genders, through digital platforms such as the internet, social media, and email. In fact, many people initially thought that this was just some online swearing or harassment, but in fact, it's far more than that. This kind of violence is not just an emotional blow, it also affects people's psychological state at a deeper level, such as anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress symptoms. But more seriously, it also affects the victim's position in society. After experiencing this kind of violence, many people will choose to quit social media, stop participating in public discussions, and even dare not express their true thoughts online. This kind of self-silencing is actually a forced silence, which also makes them gradually marginalized in the workplace or academic environment, especially for some people who are already in a disadvantaged position, such as transgender people, minority women, and people with disabilities. The impact of this violence will be more obvious. They may already lack a support system, and TFGBV makes them more isolated and more difficult to re-establish social connections. So when we talk about TFGBV, we can't just regard it as individual conflict or verbal violence on the internet. What it actually reflects is a structural inequality, which is the extension and amplification of real social discrimination in cyberspace. This kind of violence will directly weaken the victims' social participation, career development, and even affect their confidence in life. To support the point I just made, I would like to set an important research evidence. According to a report released by the Canadian Centre for International Governance Innovation in 2022, TFGBV can cause trauma, depression, anxiety, and self-censorship in victims, especially when attacks are public, repeated, and hard to escape. This sentence is very critical. It points out that technology-facilitated gender-based violence is not just emotional distress, but a real violent act that can cause serious psychological trauma. Moreover, public, repeated, and difficult to escape attacks will keep victims in a state of fear and tension for a long time, which can easily trigger anxiety and post-traumatic stress reactions, and even cause them to start self-censorship, self-silence, and dare not express their opinions. This report systematically sorts out the main manifestations of gender-based violence in digital space and focuses on analyzing the impact of the violence on mental health and social participation. I think this report is particularly valuable because it not only provides very clear data and research results, but also highlights the more easily overlooked victims groups, such as LGBTQ groups, minority women, and people with disabilities. The report points out that they often face more serious attacks and less support because of the intersectionality of their identities. This is very important for our group discussion because it reminds us not to look at the problem only from a technical level, but to understand digital violence in a larger social structure. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting the emotional and social toll this issue takes. So, based on what you shared, what forms of support do you think are most effective for victims?
I believe that the most effective support for victims of technology-facilitated gender-based violence is psychological support and social support. In terms of psychological support, psychological counseling and emotional support are provided to help them reduce anxiety, depression, and trauma. In terms of social support, victims need a safe community environment where they can share their experiences and get comfort from others. Overall, this support can help them recover their mental health and reintegrate into society. Thank you.
All right, we now move on to the third panelist who will examine the role that social media platforms and regulations play in either curbing or contributing to online gender-based violence.
Good day, everyone. My name is Siti Nuridaya Harahap, and I am honored to be third panelist in today's group panel discussion. I hope to contribute meaningfully to our conversation by shedding light on a topic that is becoming increasingly urgent in the digital age, online gender-based violence. The specific aspect that I will be focused on is the role of social media platform and regulatory frameworks in addressing online gender-based violence. This means looking closely at both the responsibilities of technology companies like Meta, TikTok, Twitter, formerly Twitter, as well as the role of national and international regulation is keeping the digital space safer, especially for women and marginalized users. With the rise of social media and digital communication, more and more people are participating in public discourse online. While this opens up new opportunities for connection and expression, it also creates new risks, especially for women. Online violence can take many forms: cyberstalking, doxing, sexual harassment, revenge porn, hate speech, and even coordinated attack. This type of abuse are unfortunately not rare, and they disproportionately target women, especially those who are outspoken, politically active, or working in public facing professional like journalism. One of the major problems is that online platforms often fail to protect users. Although many social media platforms claim to have community guidelines and reporting system in place, the enforcement of these policies is often inconsistent. Victims who report harassment are frequently met with silent or automated responses, and action is only taken after the damage has been done. Worse still, some users who commit online violence operate with a sense of impunity, knowing that the likelihood of being banned or penalized is low, especially when they use anonymous account. This creates a chilling effect. A victim of online violence, especially women, may feel unsafe expressing their view or participating in public discussion. They may need withdraw from online space entirely. This not only silence important violence, but also reinforce harmful power dynamic and gender inequality in the digital world. To support this, I would like to refer a 2021 report by UNESCO. The title is The Ceiling: Global Threats in Online Violence Against Women Journalists. This report provides compelling data and powerful testimonials showing that online violence is a serious and growing problem, especially for women who are in the public eye. According to the report, 73% of women journalists surveyed had experienced online abuse in the course of this work. This includes threats of physical and sexual violence, deeply misogynistic comments, and target smear campaigns. The report also found that many platforms fail to take adequate action to remove harmful content or penalize over offenders, which further discourage women from reporting abuse. The reason I choose this particular text is because it contributes directly, meaningfully to our panel discussion. UNESCO report not only document the scale and nature for online gender-based violence, but it also provides concrete recommendation for how social media companies, policymakers, and civil society organizations can respond. These include developing better content moderation system, increasing transparency in how reports are handled, training moderators to recognize gender abuse, and passing strong regulation to hold platform accountable. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you for the critical perspective. So, which one policy change would you want from the platforms today? Can you share with us?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that question. If I could suggest just one policy change, it would be for timelines for abuse report, particularly those involving gender-based violence. This means that when someone reports harassment, the platform must respond within a clear, responsible time frame, say within 24 to 48 hours, and must publicly disclose how many reports are received, how they are handled, and what action are taken. This would help build trust among users, pressure platform to act swiftly, and allow independent watchdog to hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, we will hear from the last panelist who will present the prevention strategies and potential solutions that could be implemented to address this serious issue.
Hello everyone, I'm Chu Ru. As the fourth panelist today, before starting, I would like to ask you to think about a question. So we use the internet every day, browse social media, send messages, take online classes, and send photos. But do we really think this space is safe? For many of us, the internet is as natural as breathing, but for some women, sexual minorities, and even those who dare to express their different voices, the internet may be an invisible prison. Therefore, what I want to discuss with you in depth today is how can we prevent gender-based violence? What feasible solution strategies can we put forward? I will be focusing on prevention strategies and solutions to address gender-based violence in digital space. So first, it's important to recognize the crucial roles that technology platforms play in the prevention of gender-based violence in digital spaces. Social media platforms are not just communication tools. They are powerful gatekeepers of online behavior. They have the power to prevent harmful content from spreading. For example, according to a 2021 report by UN Women, many platforms therefore to respond quickly to abuse reports. Victims often face long delays, unclear procedures, or even automated responses that feel cold and unhelpful. As the report clearly states, women can only be truly safe online when tech companies take real systematic action. This means safety shouldn't depend on luck or personal digital skills. It must be built into the structure of the platforms themselves. Next, I want to talk about education, especially digital literacy education, which I believe is one of the most fundamental and long-term strategies in preventing gender-based violence online. Where it's easy to blame platforms or bad actors, we often overlook a deep issue, a general lack of understanding about how digital spaces work, especially among youth. Many young people don't receive people guidance on how to protect themselves online, how to recognize harm self behaviors, or even what counts as digital abuse. According to a 2022 United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization report, raising awareness among teenagers about cyber violence, privacy protection, and digital ethics can significantly reduce incidents of online gender-based harm. These are not just technical skills. They are about shaping values, empathy, and responsible behavior. As the report emphasizes, if we don't start prevention at the educational level, any technical improvement may only treat the symptoms, not the root cause. This means education can't be optional. it must be integrated into formal school curriculums and informal community programs. We should be teaching digital citizenship the same way we teach math or language, because it's just as essential to living safely in today's world. Education gives people the tools to prevent abuse before it starts, instead of just reacting to it after the damage is done. So another key aspect of prevention is the legal system. Without a clear legal definition of online gender-based violence, much of the abuse that happens online goes unpunished. A strong example comes from the Philippines, which passed the Safe Space Act in 2022. This law is one of the few in Southeast Asia that directly addresses gender-based harassment both offline and online. It clearly defines different forms of digital gender violence. It also includes public education campaigns, ensuring that citizens are aware of their rights and the law's protections. However, not all countries have such laws. In many places, victims are told it's just the internet, and their cases are dismissed or ignored. That's why it's critical for other governments to look to examples like the Philippines and consider how digital gender violence can be addressed inclusive legal frameworks. Legal action alone won't fix everything, but it provides a backbone for accountability which other strategies can build on. Finally, we must talk about the power of grassroots organizations, which often fill the gaps left by institutions. One standout example is Take Back the Tech. This organization focuses on empowering women and gender diverse people to reclaim technology for their safety and agency. What makes civil society efforts so effective is that they are often more personal and more responsive than top-down policies. These organizations work on the ground directly with communities and can tailor their approaches to the specific needs of local populations. In conclusion, preventing gender-based violence in digital spaces is not the responsibility of one single group. It requires a multi-layered collaborative approach. Thank you.
Thank you for those thoughtful suggestions. So, in review, which prevention method is most feasible and impactful in the short term?
Okay, thank you for your question. I think we need to have a variety of strategies to solve this problem. But if I had to choose one most effective strategy, I think it would be education. Because education doesn't just respond to harm, it prevents it. It shapes how we think, how we treat tech, how we treat each other, and what we tolerate online. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure, and awareness change is the strongest fuel. So I think education is the most necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to thank all of you for your time and attention. I also extend my deepest gratitude to our panelists for their thoughtful contributions. Let us continue to engage in meaningful dialogue and take action to create safer digital environments for everyone. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.